At the reunion dinner, the air was full of laughter and clinking glasses. Olivia smiled as she placed a mushroom into my bowl. "Noah, the mushrooms you ordered," she began, then stopped. I froze. I hadn't ordered mushrooms. "And my name—" Wasn't Noah. Noah was her ex-boyfriend. The man sitting just to my left. For a heartbeat, the entire table went still. I could feel her mistake hanging in the air like a heavy silence no one wanted to touch. Olivia's smile faltered. Noah looked up. Their eyes met, just for a moment, but that moment said everything. Then she quickly looked away, pretending nothing had happened. In that crowded restaurant, laughter dimmed to an awkward hush. I clenched my chopsticks until they trembled in my hand, the pain in my palm dull compared to the one sitting quietly in my chest. Finally, someone cracked a joke to ease the tension, and everyone laughed. Too loudly, too eagerly, trying to bring back what was lost in those few seconds. Olivia moved the mushroom back to her own bowl. Then she ladled soup into mine and said softly, "Drink something warm. You didn't dress enough for the weather." I nodded, silent. My heart was still caught on that single name. When dinner ended, she tugged at my sleeve. "I'm going to the restroom. Wait for me outside." I nodded again, but something inside me stirred. A quiet unease that wouldn't let me stay still. So I followed. At the end of the hallway, I saw her standing with Noah. He looked sharp, taller than I remembered, wrapped in a long black coat. Olivia's expression was tense. Words passed between them, too soft to hear. Then suddenly he pulled her into a hug. I saw her hand freeze midair, fingers hesitating. She didn't hug him back. Not right away. When she finally pushed him off, she said something, quiet, final, and turned to leave. But Noah's voice followed her, sharp and raw. "You don't even love him, do you? You just called him by my name. Olivia, you haven't moved on." Her steps faltered, but she didn't turn around. She just walked away. That night, neither of us mentioned what happened.
She slipped into bed beside me, pressed a kiss to the corner of my lips, and whispered, "Let's sleep."
But we didn't, because of one name spoken by mistake. Olivia was the kind of woman who never slipped. Always composed, always in control. To say another man's name so easily, it could only mean one thing. That name had lived in her heart far too long. Lying there, I could feel her heartbeat against my back, fast, uneven, and yet somehow it felt like an ocean stretched between us. At work, I heard it before I saw it coming. 2 girls were whispering in the break room. "Some guy came this morning looking for President Lynn," one said. "Tall, good-looking," asked for her by name. "Olivia Lynn," her friend gasped. "What was his name?" The girl paused, thinking. "Noah, that's what he said. Noah." The name hit me harder than I expected. They kept talking, giggling, speculating, but I barely heard the rest. I was frozen, standing in the doorway with a cup of coffee that had already gone cold. When they finally left, I just stood there for a long time trying to breathe. But all I could see, on every report, every document, was that one word. Noah. He was back, and suddenly all my fears returned. The same fear from 7 years ago, when he first took Olivia away from me without even trying. We'd grown up together, Olivia and I, same schools, same memories, same dreams. But maybe. Love isn't about who grows up with you. It's about who still lives in your heart when everything else changes. I spent half my childhood at Olivia's house. Her mom adored me. She'd laugh and tease, "Jordan, are you going to be Auntie's son-in-law someday?" Every time I'd blush and stare down at my plate, too shy to answer. The adults would chuckle, and someone would always ask, "Olivia, would you marry Jordan?" She'd grin wide, her eyes bright. "Yes, Jordan's my favorite." And back then, I really believed her. I believed we'd always be each other's favorite. But everything changed the year we turned 19. That was the year Noah appeared. He was our new classmate in college, confident, brilliant, and effortlessly charming. And Olivia? She was just as bright. Together they were unstoppable, the golden pair everyone admired. President and vice president of the student council. Debate team champions. Top of every class. 2 stars orbiting closer and closer until they collided. She still spent time with me, but every conversation started to sound different. "Jordan, how's Noah so good at debating?" "Jordan, if a guy says a restaurant's great, does that mean he wants to go with you?" "Jordan, what kind of gift do guys like for their birthdays?" "Help me pick something out." She was still saying my name, but her heart was already somewhere else. That day, when she first mentioned buying a gift for him, I remember my chest tightening. I asked, forcing a smile. "Who's it for?" She looked down, cheeks pink, voice barely above a whisper. "Who else?" "Noah, of course." "You might be getting a brother-in-law soon. Aren't you happy?" Her eyes lifted to mine, sparkling with excitement. And I smiled back, though everything inside me had gone still. "Happy," I said. But it was a lie. They started dating soon after. And honestly, they were perfect together, at least from the outside. They looked like a couple from a college brochure, all confidence and promise glowing under the spotlight. Everyone said the same thing. They're made for each other. For 3 years, they were inseparable. And in those same 3 years, Olivia and I became strangers. Part of it was my doing. I didn't want to get in the way. But mostly it was Noah. He didn't like how close we were. He was possessive, always watching, always questioning. And Olivia? She didn't want to upset him. So she slowly erased me, deleted my number, stopped calling, stopped showing up. After all those years of growing up side by side, we finally drifted apart. That winter, I went home alone for Chinese New Year. Her mom opened the door, smiling at first. Then her face fell. "Why isn't Olivia with you?" I lowered my head. She went abroad with her boyfriend. The look on Auntie's face said it all. Confusion, then quiet sadness. She patted my shoulder and sighed. I smiled like it didn't hurt, but inside, it felt like something heavy had settled in my chest. Noah and Olivia lasted 3 years. 3 years of love and fire, two proud people too much alike to last forever. When things were good, they burned bright. When they weren't, the fights were explosive. Noah needed control. Olivia needed freedom. And neither would bend. Whenever they clashed, she'd come find me, drunk, angry, exhausted. "What the hell is he thinking, Jordan? He's so damn annoying, worse than my mom." "I just listen." I never knew what to say. Anything I said could make it worse. She didn't want advice anyway. She just wanted someone safe to fall apart in front of. Then one night, it all ended. Noah told her he was leaving and studying abroad and wanted her to come with him. But Olivia had just started a company with her classmates. It was the early internet boom, a once-in-a-lifetime chance to build something of her own. She tried to convince him to stay, to build that future together. But Noah wasn't the type to stay for anyone. Their argument spiraled until he snapped. "Can you stop going against me for once? Are you coming with me or not?" And when she refused, he dropped the ultimatum. "If you're not coming, then let's break up. No point wasting each other's time." Olivia's pride flared. "Fine, let's break up. If we don't, I'm the fool." Noah froze. Then with one last look said, "You've got guts, Olivia." And just like that, he walked out. The next day, he boarded a plane. Gone. She didn't chase him. Didn't cry in public. But for weeks, she wasn't herself. She'd drink too much, call old friends, laugh too loud, then break down mid-sentence. Until one night, Simon finally lost it. He grabbed her by the collar and shouted, "If you still care about him, go after him! If not, pull yourself together. The company needs you. Stop running away." Olivia said nothing. That night, she sat alone for hours. And by morning, she was back. Poised, composed, focused, like she'd never fallen apart at all. That was the Olivia I knew. And when she asked me to join her company as a partner, I said yes. Because even though she'd been broken once, she still burned brighter than anyone I'd ever known. It was Olivia's birthday, 3 years after Noah had left. That night, I drank too much. The lights were soft, golden, almost dreamlike. And when I looked at her across the table, she seemed almost unreal, so beautiful that the world around her blurred. Maybe it was the alcohol, or maybe it was all those years of buried feelings clawing their way back up. But I couldn't hold it in anymore. I leaned in and kissed her. For a second, she just stared at me, eyes shimmering, caught somewhere between surprise and something deeper, something she didn't want to name. Then she closed her eyes and kissed me back. Her hands slid up around my neck, pulling me closer. The world fell quiet, just her breath and mine. The next morning, I woke up to silence, cigarette in hand, unsure of what to say. Before I could speak, she wrapped her arms around me from behind, her voice soft against my shoulder. "Jordan," she murmured, "let's be together." I froze, my chest tightened. "Do you love me?" She didn't answer. She just held me tighter. And somehow that silence said everything. By the time the sky turned gray outside my window, those memories were already fading, like smoke dissolving into the night. I stared out at the city lights bleeding into a ribbon of cars, each one flickering past like a heartbeat. But that calm didn't last, because deep down I knew. Noah wasn't done. His rejection years ago hadn't stopped him. It only made him more determined. That was who he was, the kind of man who never lost twice. And now he was back. Not just in town, but at our company. It wasn't Noah I was afraid of. It was Olivia. Because maybe Noah was right. Maybe she'd never really let go. That thought haunted me the whole day, until Olivia came to my desk after work, smiling like nothing had happened. "Let's go home together," she said. In the car, I wanted to ask if she'd seen Noah. But before I could, she spoke first. "Today, Noah came to see me." My chest tightened. I waited. "But I didn't meet him," she said quickly, eyes fixed on the road. "At the reunion, I didn't even know he'd be there. If I had, I wouldn't have gone. Don't be mad, okay?" I exhaled slowly. The air felt heavy in my lungs. She reached over and took my hand. "There's nothing between us anymore, Jordan. It's been years. I've moved on. Don't overthink it." I smiled, tried to believe her. Maybe I really was overreacting. But that night, she didn't touch me. She lay there scrolling through her phone, her back turned, her screen glowing long into the night. Half asleep, I reached over to check the time and picked up her phone by mistake. We shared the same password, her birthday. Without thinking, I unlocked it. And there they were, photos, Olivia and Noah, smiling in the sun, wrapped around each other on a beach in Phuket. Him in swim trunks, her in a white dress, a water gun in hand, laughing into the camera. I scrolled through more. Their memories, their happiness, all perfectly preserved. I thought she'd deleted them years ago. Turns out she'd just moved them to the cloud. I looked over at her, sleeping peacefully beside me, and felt something inside me hollow out. The night felt colder than ever, because in that moment I couldn't pretend anymore. She had called me by his name. She had kept his photos. Noah was right. She had never really let go. I knew Noah wouldn't stop there, but even then, I wasn't prepared for him to show up at our door. That night, a few of us, the friends who'd started the company together, were at home having dinner, talking shop, laughing a little. Then the doorbell rang. Olivia went to answer it, and there he was, Noah, dark coat, sunglasses, still carrying that same self-assured air that used to make people turn their heads. Everyone went quiet. Olivia froze in the doorway. "Why are you here?" Noah didn't even look at anyone else. His eyes locked on her. "Why haven't you been answering my calls?" Her voice rose firm. "We're over, Noah. Why would I take your calls? I have a boyfriend now. Have some self-respect and stop harassing me." Noah's lips curved into a cold smile. "You can fool others, Olivia. You can even fool yourself, but me?" He stepped forward, pointing to her chest. "If you're really over me, why did you call him by my name?" The air turned to stone. Nobody moved. I stood up slowly, forcing my voice to stay even. "Noah," I said, "Olivia is with me now. It's not decent to show up here uninvited." He finally turned his head toward me, as if noticing me for the first time. Then came that smirk, the one I used to see in college, arrogant, knowing. "Jordan, right?" He said, "I remember you. You were always around back then." He took a step closer, eyes glinting. How pitiful. And just like that, the world seemed to tilt, everything we'd been holding together trembling on the edge of collapse. "So after all these years, you finally get to pick up the leftovers." Noah's words cut through the air like glass. He took a step closer, his tone sharp, cruel. "Do you know what Olivia used to say about you when we were together?" Olivia's voice cracked through the tension. "That's enough, Noah." But he ignored her, his smile cold, full of malice. "She said you were like a shadow, always following her around, impossible to shake. She said you were annoying." For a second, everything just stopped. The voices, the noise, the warmth of the room, it all faded. There was no pain, not yet. Just emptiness. The kind that comes when you're wounded so deeply, your body hasn't even realized it's bleeding. Olivia's anger snapped like a whip. She grabbed Noah's wrist. "What the hell do you want?" Noah turned, his expression softening as if he'd just dropped the mask. "You really don't know?" His voice trembled with something raw. "Olivia, I regret everything." He reached out, brushing his fingers along her cheek with heartbreaking familiarity. "All these years I haven't been able to let you go. Can we start over?" Her face twisted with fury, her voice shaking as she fought to keep control. I waited for you like a damn dog, Noah. For 3 years. You never came back. And now you say you still love me? Give me a break. He closed his eyes, voice barely above a whisper. I didn't dare come back. Because if I saw you again, I wouldn't be able to leave. For a moment, he wasn't the arrogant man we'd always known. He was just broken. And that was what undid her. Olivia's anger faded, replaced by something far more dangerous, confusion. Her eyes shimmered with emotions she didn't want to name. And then she whispered, "And what does any of this matter now? I have a new life." Noah's eyes burned red. He leaned in closer. And before anyone could react, he kissed her. It wasn't long, just a fleeting brush of lips. But it hit like thunder. My heart stopped. My knees went weak. It felt like falling through ice, numb, breathless, unreal. Simon was the first to shout. "Noah, what the hell is wrong with you?" He slammed his hand on the table, voice shaking with rage. "You're the one who left her! Now Olivia and Jordan are practically engaged and you come crawling back?" Noah turned to him, expression cold, voice laced with venom. "They're not married yet, are they? So why are you acting like some eunuch worried about the emperor's affairs?" The room went silent. "And let's be honest," Noah continued. "Olivia never loved him. You really want to force her into a miserable life?" "She loves me." Simon's face twisted. "Say something, Olivia. We've all seen how Jordan treats you. You can't do this to him." I looked at her, waiting, hoping for something. But her eyes, they held no love, only guilt. That one look told me everything. This was the end I'd been walking toward all along. I asked quietly, "So, you're choosing him, aren't you?" She didn't answer at first. The silence stretched until it hurt. Then finally she said, "Jordan, I'm sorry. I really tried, and I understood. She had tried to love me. But love isn't something you can build from effort. It either lives or it doesn't." A friend stood up, unable to take it anymore. "Olivia, you're a damn bastard!" he yelled. We'd been together for years. Even they couldn't stand to see me humiliated like this. But Olivia, she didn't flinch. I stood there, holding back the sting in my eyes, gripping the last bit of dignity I had left. Noah looked at me and smiled, a victor's smile, cold, pitying. That was enough. I turned, walked to the bedroom, and pulled out the suitcase I'd been quietly packing for weeks. Ever since the night I'd caught her scrolling through old photos of them, I'd known this moment was coming. Piece by piece, I'd been preparing to leave. As I brushed past her, she opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out. "I'll go first," I said softly, forcing a smile for the others. Then I closed the door behind me. And in that silence, I finally understood what they meant when they said, "The one time you truly leave." The door shuts with the softest sound. Maybe that's why it didn't hurt as much as I thought it would. Heartbreak isn't a stab. It's a splinter that stays buried, aching quietly in the dark. That night I dreamed again. Back to high school, before Noah existed, when Olivia's world still revolved around me. She'd twisted her ankle once during an 800-meter run. I carried her home under a sky painted gold and pink. She pouted the whole way. "Mind your own business." I rolled my eyes. "Then get off and walk." She giggled. "You're so mean. Who'd ever marry you?" I shot back, "Plenty of girls like me." She snorted. "Who?" Must be blind. I remember thinking, Olivia is so annoying. But then she laughed, wrapping her arms around my neck, her warmth sinking into my back. And for a moment, I thought that warmth would last forever. "Fine, I'll be nice and marry you then." Her voice had been teasing, light. But I remember how the sunset caught her face that day, soft and golden. It made her look almost unreal. I turned my head just a little, and a strand of her hair brushed my cheek, carrying that familiar scent of rose and lychee shampoo. It made me dizzy. I had loved her for so long. Olivia's name had grown into me like a root too deep to pull out. Trying to cut it free now would only mean bleeding. That same day, she and Noah got back together. Most of our friends left in anger, disgusted by what they'd seen. The irony? Olivia posted a picture of them as a couple that very night, made it official for the whole world to see, and then immediately blocked me. No hesitation. No second thoughts. So clean, so decisive. I wanted to laugh at how absurd it felt. I didn't even know if it was Olivia who blocked me or if Noah had done it for her while she slept. But at that point, I didn't care. I stopped reaching out. Let my assistant handle everything. People at the company started whispering soon after. It's funny. I never realized how big Olivia really was until I stopped seeing her every day. Sometimes we wouldn't even cross paths once in a week, until that one evening. The elevator doors slid open and there she was, alone. For a second, I froze. Then I stepped in. She's the one who ended things, not me. I had nothing to be ashamed of. The air between us felt tight, heavy. She avoided my eyes. Just when the elevator dinged and I was about to step off, she spoke softly. I didn't delete you. It was Noah. He took my phone while I was asleep. I stopped. A quiet pain spread through me, not sharp, but deep. That apartment, I'd treated it like home. Every bedsheet, every comforter, I'd picked them myself. Olivia was particular, so I'd chosen silk sets that cost a small fortune. I'd wash them by hand, lay them out to dry carefully, never dared to iron them. Even the air freshener was her favorite scent, rose. And now she'd let another man move in, then had the nerve to stand there, trying to ease my pain with an explanation that only made it worse. I turned and really looked at her, truly looked, for the first time since everything fell apart. The girl I'd loved for so many years was gone. In her place stood a stranger wearing her face. You don't need to explain, I said quietly. I don't care anymore. Then I walked away. She stayed frozen there, pale and unmoving, long after the elevator doors closed. The next morning, something felt off the moment I stepped into the office. The air was different, thick, restless. People glanced at me, then looked away quickly, pretending to be busy. By the time I entered the conference room, I could already feel the tension. The senior staff sat stiffly, anger flickering in their eyes. Someone slammed a folder shut and cursed under his breath. What the hell is this? One of them snapped. I pulled out a chair and sat down. What's going on? Simon glared toward a closed office. What else? The guy with all the connections shows up saying we're not ambitious enough, that we're outdated. He wants to modernize everything with his American experience. His tone dripped with sarcasm. When we built this company, he was nowhere to be found. And now? He waltzes in and demands to be vice president. Even brought his own team like we're supposed to hand it all over. Before I could piece it together, the door opened. Noah walked in, calm and cold. Am I wrong? He said smoothly. The internet's been booming for years and you still haven't gone public. You've been playing it safe. You're holding the company back. That's when it hit me. Simon's fury wasn't about some stranger. It was about him. Simon shot up from his chair. Noah, when we started this business, you were still in America. Why didn't you come then and give us your lectures? Noah smiled faintly and sat at the head of the table like he belonged there. So what? Whoever's capable should lead. If you can't push this company forward, maybe it's time to step aside. I leaned forward, my voice steady. Wait a second, Noah. This company belongs to all of us, not just Olivia. What gives you the right to tell us how to run it? He sneered. Oh, it's you again. Jordan, you really do show up everywhere. But tell me, aren't you the least qualified person to talk about this? He crossed his arms, that cruel smile playing on his lips. Do you even know how Olivia got its name? I said nothing. It's a combination of my name and Olivia's, he said slowly, letting every word sink in. I'm honestly curious, doesn't it bother you? Working in a place that's literally named after us? The room went quiet. His words cut deep, and I couldn't bring myself to answer. Simon slammed a hand on the table. We're not Olivia, Noah. Watch your mouth. Olivia. If you can't control him, I will. Olivia sighed, weary. Noah's just blunt. He didn't mean it that way. Don't take it personally. Her voice was calm, but the tension was still there, thick and obvious. I picked up a pen, twirling it between my fingers, trying to mask the shake in my hand. Olivia, I said softly, what do you mean? She met my eyes. Noah's words were harsh, yes, but he's not entirely wrong. The company's strategy is outdated. Maybe it's time we change with the times. Her tone was polite, professional, but everyone in that room understood what she really meant. She'd already chosen her side. The moment Olivia agreed with Noah, the room's tension snapped like a wire. No one could sit still anymore. Old Lynn, that's not fair, someone blurted out. You and your husband are playing good cop, bad cop. One says the sweet things, the other delivers the blows. The accusations came fast. This isn't what you promised when you begged us to start this company. Back then, none of us could have landed million-dollar salaries at big firms. We followed you, worked day and night for just $1,800 a month. Sometimes we didn't even get paid. We put in our own money, and now that you've made it, you want to cut us loose?" Olivia frowned, trying to explain. "That's not what I meant. The company just needs—" But Noah cut her off coldly. "You guys can stay," he said, his voice slicing through the air. "But Jordan has to go." He started toward me one step at a time, his eyes hard. "I can't stand you hanging around her anymore," he said. "I'm not that kind of man." Simon jumped in. "Olivia, say something. Jordan's been with you through everything. How can you just let this happen?" Olivia grabbed Noah's arm, frustrated. "Jordan's a partner. There's nothing between us. Don't make a scene." But it was too late. Noah's voice rose again, sharp and furious. "I'm not weak, Olivia. I can't stand knowing my woman still thinks about another man. So tell me, who are you choosing? Him or me?" The room fell silent. Olivia froze. All eyes turned to her. That was it for me. I stood up, calm but done. "No need for her to choose," I said quietly. "I'm not playing that game anymore." Because deep down, I already knew she'd never choose me. And if she could let go of me today, she'd let go of anyone tomorrow. I looked around the table. We're all smart people here. None of you should tie your future to someone else's choices. I'll be submitting my resignation. If anyone wants to leave with me, you know where to find me. I dropped the pen, turned, and walked out. Behind me, Simon got up. "I'm coming with you." Then one by one, others followed. Olivia's voice wavered. "What are you doing?" The senior partner hesitated, then said quietly, "Sorry, old Lynn, but with your boyfriend's attitude, we can't work under you anymore. If he can push Jordan out today, he'll come for us tomorrow." And just like that, they left. No one looked back. Later, when I went to hand in my resignation, Olivia was waiting, her face a mess of guilt and confusion. "Jordan, so why are you doing this?" she asked. I smiled faintly. "What do you mean, why? Why would you say those things? You know the company can't survive without them. After everything we've been through, doesn't that count for something?" I raised an eyebrow. "You really surprised me, Olivia. I never knew you could be this shameless. Maybe it's contagious, or maybe you and Noah really are perfect for each other. I didn't drag things out. When I love fiercely. But when it's time to cut ties, I do it clean. No hesitation, no second chances. Even if it tears me apart inside, I won't let it show. Because showing weakness to someone who doesn't love you, that's the cruelest thing you can do to yourself." I dropped the letter on her desk. "Remember this," I said. "It wasn't you who fired me. It was me who fired you." Weeks later, the office felt hollow. Half the old team followed me out the door, some out of loyalty, others because they'd seen the writing on the wall. Noah had won this round. He had Olivia, he had the company. But deep down, I knew he wouldn't be laughing forever. I built something new with the people who believed in me. We'd done it once. We could do it again. The next time I saw Olivia was on New Year's Eve. We still lived across from each other, so bumping into her and Noah downstairs wasn't exactly fate, just bad timing. Her mother opened the door and smiled when she saw me. "Jordan, you're home." "You've lost weight." But the smile vanished the moment she spotted Noah behind me. Her warmth turned to ice. Noah tried to greet her. "Hello, Auntie!" But she ignored him completely and went inside. He froze, awkward. I didn't say a word. I just went upstairs. A few hours later, the walls between our apartments felt paper thin. Through them came shouting, crying, the sound of things breaking. And that's when I realized sometimes walking away isn't losing. It's surviving. The noise from next door grew louder, crashing, shouting, something breaking. It scared my mother. She rushed out, banging on their door. "Lily, what's going on?" "Open up." For months, my mom had refused to even speak to Olivia's mother after what happened between Olivia and me. But eventually, time softened the edges. Olivia's mom apologized again and again, and somehow they made peace. When the door finally opened, Olivia's mother stood there with tears streaking her face and anger trembling in her voice. "Take that man," she shouted, pointing at Noah, "and get out of my house. You've ruined everything, on New Year's no less." Noah didn't back down. His voice was sharp, mocking. "I called you Auntie out of respect," he said, "but tell me, what kind of family still lives together with their grown daughter? What's really going on here?" Olivia's mother turned pale. She pointed at him, lips trembling, but no words came out. And then, for the first time, Olivia snapped. "Shut up, Noah!" she shouted. My mom doesn't live with me, she just moved nearby. Why do you have to talk like that? But Noah only grew louder, more defensive. Oh, I see what this is. Your mom doesn't like me, huh? Well, maybe she should learn a thing or two. Kids overseas grow up independent. They don't cling to their parents forever. Maybe she's just too old-fashioned to understand.
That's enough!
Olivia's patience shattered. All you ever talk about is overseas, overseas, overseas. If you hate being here so much, then go back. Noah froze, eyes wide. You want me to leave? Then something in him snapped. He grabbed her arm, pulling hard. For a moment, I couldn't move. The Noah I'd once seen as confident and composed now looked unhinged, like a man unraveling right before our eyes. But deep down, it made a kind of sense. He'd never dated anyone while he was abroad. Meanwhile, Olivia and I had been together back here. Maybe he'd always carried that resentment, that belief that she owed him something. And Olivia, guilty or not, had been too patient with him because of it. Now that patience was gone. He yanked her closer, his voice cracking with anger. You've been cold lately. At home you ignore me. You don't even let me touch you. You think I don't know what's going on? You're still hung up on that loser. The loser was me. Before anyone could react, Olivia's mother tried to step in, but Noah, blinded by rage, shoved her aside. She stumbled, hit the coffee table, and went down hard. Everything stopped. For one terrible second, no one breathed. Then I saw the blood spreading from her head, dark and slow across the floor. My mother screamed, "Call an ambulance, hurry!" At the hospital, the doctors said Olivia's mom had a deep wound that needed stitches and signs of a concussion. She'd always been frail. Now she couldn't even sit up. While paying the bill, my mother leaned close and whispered, Olivia's mom never liked Noah. When Olivia broke up with him and started seeing you, she was so happy. Who would have thought he'd come back? Noah wasn't stupid. He could tell he wasn't welcome. But he was too proud, too angry to walk away, and it all led here. When I went to see Olivia in the hospital room, she sat by her mother's bed, eyes red and hands shaking. I spoke softly. How's Auntie? She just took her medicine, Olivia said, her voice hoarse. She's sleeping. Silence filled the room. I turned to leave when she suddenly asked, Jordan, do you think I made a mistake? I looked at her for a long moment. You chose your path, I said quietly. Right or wrong, you have to live with it. Back at my office, things were chaos, but the good kind. Orders were pouring in faster than we could handle. What's going on? I asked Simon, who looked like he hadn't slept in days. He rubbed his eyes. Olivia's in trouble. Big clients are pulling out left and right, and they're coming to us instead. Trouble? I frowned. What kind of trouble? Simon sighed. Noah brought in a team of so-called experts, but they're all theory and no skill. They treat local clients like fools, called them bumpkins at a golf event. And Noah? He actually mocked them for not knowing how to play. I blinked. He said that? To clients? Simon shrugged. Guess the air in America was too clean. It messed with his brain. He's got some smarts, sure, but running a company? He's a disaster. And just like that, the world that once revolved around Olivia and Noah started to fall apart, while ours quietly rose from the ashes. The company already had enough people for that job. There was really no reason to bring him back. But even as I said that, something inside me whispered, I don't think Olivia can last much longer like this. That night, lying in bed, I was aimlessly scrolling through my phone when I noticed a new visitor on my latest Weibo post. The profile picture caught my eye immediately. So familiar, so impossible to forget. It was Olivia. I scrolled back through my old posts, and there she was again. Tiny traces of her hidden in the likes, the quiet visits. A strange, complicated feeling washed over me. When we were together, she never cared about my Weibo. She'd secretly check Noah's instead. But now, after everything ended, she was back. Checking mine. It's funny, isn't it? How human nature always reaches for the things it's already lost. I didn't even know what she was trying to say with all this, but it irritated me. So I blocked her, again. Simon had warned me this might happen, and as always, he'd been right. By February, before spring even began, Olivia called. For the first time in months, her name appeared on my screen. Her voice was barely there, like someone whose soul had been drained away. Jordan, she whispered after a long silence. Please come back. My fingers tightened around the phone. Come back? What did she mean by that? Come back to fix the wreckage she'd made. I broke up with Noah, she said suddenly. avoiding the real question. But I knew what she meant. She wanted to start over. I had imagined this moment before, her calling, begging for another chance. I used to think I'd relish it, that I'd throw her words back at her, make her regret it all. But now that it was real, I just felt tired. So tired, I said nothing. Just hung up and blocked her number for good. Everything between us, good and bad, had already died. A broken mirror never truly fits again. Spilt water can't be gathered back. Then came July, scorching, relentless July, and with it, news that would shake everything once more. Noah hadn't taken the breakup well. Between the company's collapse and his obsession with Olivia, something inside him snapped. He asked her to meet, said he wanted to talk. But instead, he drove them straight off a cliff. Miraculously, they both survived, but barely. Noah escaped with a few broken ribs. Olivia wasn't so lucky. Her injuries were severe, so bad they had to amputate her leg. When her mother heard the news, she fainted right there in the hospital corridor. When she woke, she wanted to kill Noah herself. I went to see Olivia. The proud, radiant woman I once knew was gone. She refused to eat, refused to speak, shrinking into someone almost unrecognizable. And when Noah came to see her, whatever love had once been in her eyes had burned away completely. All that remained was hatred, pure and sharp. He laughed bitterly, his voice cracked and cruel. "This is what you get for leaving me," he spat. "Now you're crippled. Let's see if that loser still wants you." She snapped, lunging at him, clawing, screaming, hitting until people had to hold her back. His face was red and swollen when they finally dragged him out, but the look he gave her was darker than anger. It was venom. That was the end of their story. Their endless cycle of breaking and reconciling had finally destroyed them both. As I left the hospital, Olivia called after me. The sunlight through the window framed her face, pale and fragile, like a memory fading away. Her lips trembled as if she wanted to say something, but the words never came. In that silence, I understood. Sometimes you don't need to ask a question when the answer will only hurt you more. A single tear rolled down her cheek as I turned and stepped into the sunlight. Another year passed, and Olivia finally fell. We acquired the company and mine grew stronger than ever. At the annual party, my old classmates raised their glasses, laughing about how much had changed. "Feels like a dream," someone said. Simon, as usual, cut through the sentimentality. "Hey, what's with the sighing? Didn't you all get your year-end bonuses?" Laughter rippled through the room. I smiled and lifted my glass. "To all your hard work this year," I said. Simon grinned, interrupting again. "And to making the company bigger and stronger." The glasses clinked, golden liquid swirling under the lights. I downed the drink in one breath. The burn felt good, like it was washing away everything that had weighed me down for so long. Those who left me, that past, it's all gone now. And ahead of me, finally, was a future, one that had only just begun.